All right, so I know time is going to go by really fast, and I'm hoping that this will be a somewhat interactive presentation. And the focus on today is digital marketing for startup founders. And as a founder, you have to make tough choices about where to spend your money. And of course, you need to spend money on marketing. It's really easy to lose track of where that is going. And it's hard to know if you're making that right decision. So my goal is to give you some knowledge so that you can feel confident about what decisions you're making. So this is my motto. I got this from my great grandmother. She had this on her desk, and I'll share it with you. As founders, I think it'll really resonate with you. If you believe you're right, you must go ahead and see if you are. And that's what we're all doing. We have an idea and we are actively going out to see if we're right about our idea. So here's a question that I would love for you to answer and just put your response in the chat. I'm curious to know what you're thinking. So if I gave you $10,000 today to spend in marketing, where would you spend that? I'd just love to see what your ideas are. And if you're not sure, that's okay too. So for your company, marketing strategy. Good. So rating from 1 to 10, how confident are you in, and I'll change this a little bit, how confident are you in the decisions you're making about marketing for your startup? Where 10 is really confident and 1 is not so confident. Ten, good, awesome, great. All right, so a little bit more about me. I have 3 kids. They're what motivates me. I have a digital strategy company called Wilder Strategy Lab, and I'm in Mill Valley. And I wrote a book called Digital Blitz, which explains the model. And I'm an adjunct professor at Dominican University in Centerville, where I live. Just a moment, I'm having some trouble with my screen being covered up. There we go. Okay. So what brought me to developing the BASE3 model is that in the work that I do, I work with a lot of business owners who felt very frustrated about marketing. They're uncertain about what to do. How do they make decisions around marketing? They feel frustrated often that they've spent a lot of money on marketing and they haven't gotten the return that they expected. And a lot of times, these business owners that I work with are frozen into inaction. They're not doing anything. My background is on the technical side. I've been building websites since 1997, all the way back when everything was completely hand-coded. And I migrated into doing digital marketing and digital strategy because what has happened is that there's a technical component to digital marketing now. And oftentimes, marketing professionals have not had that technical background. So I saw a place for me to fill in that gap. And a lot of business owners kind of feel like marketing, digital marketing is everything all over the place all of the time. So my goal is to clarify that for you. But first I want to do a little bit of unlearning about marketing. So you've probably all seen the sales funnel. And it's usually shaped like this and colors like this, exciting colors at the top, blue at the bottom. And what I want to express to you is that when you are creating a funnel shape, when you're thinking about it this way, your most important person, the customer who's made that purchase, is all the way down at the bottom and all alone. And you'll see this funnel shape over and over again. And what I want to do is change the shape of your sales funnel. So when you're talking about getting customers in the door and your customer experience, you want to be thinking about, of course, you need to get new customers, but rather than having that sale at the very bottom of the funnel, let's put it in the middle of the funnel because your customer is your best salesperson. So rather than the funnel ending with the sale is in the middle, and we're going to be talking about what you can do to turn that customer into an advocate for your brand. So this is where you need to be focusing your marketing budget, is on those existing customers. So unlearning focusing too much on the top of the funnel. Yes, of course, you need to get new customers, but it takes a lot of time and money to get one customer to go all the way through to making that purchase. When you have a happy customer, their recommendation and their referral is free. So orienting your thinking to focusing on converting your customers into promoters and advocates of your brand will be a great way to use your marketing budget. So focus on the bottom of the funnel. This is what we're going to be talking about today. Unlearning. I want you to think about your customers as when they're promoting you or when they're telling people about you and your brand, they're not promoting you. They're promoting their decision to work with you or to buy from you. So when you are communicating with your client, you want to be speaking to them in that way. They're promoting their ability to make a good decision. And when you start thinking about their perspective, that's when the copywriting and the approach that you have when you're trying to encourage them to become advocates for your brand starts to really shift. So here we have a nice customer journey, starting at the top when they are learning about you, they buy from you, you're taking good care of them, they tell their friends about you, and you have this nice recycling of happy clients, turning their friends into more happy clients for you. So we're going to do 2 quick lessons today. I want to talk to you about segmenting and measuring your customer's journey. And this is a very high level exercise. As a founder, you should do this with your business. So take out a piece of paper and draw this funnel shape, which is now an hourglass shape. And we're going to start to fill in some information here. So starting at the very top, we're talking about people who are at the discovering level. So from the BASE3 model's perspective, people who are in the discovering level do not know you exist. There are no data points connecting them to you. And your goal is to get found by them. People who are in the consideration level are potential customers who have at least one data point connecting them to you. Either they've been to your website, they've engaged with you on social media, there's some way they are connected to you. You might not know who they are. They might be an anonymous visitor to your website, but Google knows who they are. The platforms know who they are. They know who's engaging with you, even if you don't. The decision level, we define these people as potential customers who have performed some action that shows intent to purchase. So as a business, you need to decide what that is. It's different for every business. For some, it might be visiting a particular product page. It might be signing up for a trial. It might be making an appointment for you. But you want to identify what is that action that is measurable, that shows intent to purchase. Here is the decision line. They have purchased from you. So after they purchase from you, they are now in this really important level of their decision-making process of deciding whether or not they feel like they made a good decision. And this is when it's really important to do a good job of delivering the product that you promised to deliver, or the services that you promised to deliver. And once they have gone through that validation process, and it's a different timeline depending on your product. I have a client who does building renovations, and it's 3 years sometimes before the project is done. For some customers, it's instantaneous. But you want to know what is that defining line here where your customer goes from still validating their decision to work with you, to feeling confident that they could or could not promote you. And you want to have that become part of your process. Maybe it's a survey that you send out. Maybe it's a phone call. Maybe, it could be different depending on what your business is. So then folks in the promoting level, these are all of your historical clients. They are potential promoters of your brand. And we're saying actually promoting of their decision to work with you. So this is the way that we define and divide and segment your customers in the BASE3 model, because they each have a measurable point. So what I would like you to do is, and hopefully you've drawn out this chart, but it's okay if you haven't, just write down these numbers. Now, usually when I'm meeting with CEOs and business owners, they don't know all of these numbers, and that's okay. What that means is that there's an opportunity for you to learn more about your business. And by going out and finding these numbers, you will put processes in place that give you a high-level view of how you're doing, how your marketing is doing. So let's start with the decision level. How many customers, potential customers, are in, let's look out over a month period. How many people are in this decision level where they may have performed some act that shows intent to purchase, but they aren't yet ready? You have an idea of what that might be. For some of my clients, it's only 1 or 2 because they do these giant projects. For other clients, it's hundreds. So I'm curious, just put in the chat how many customers you have right now in this decision level. And if you don't know, it's okay. We're going to talk about how to get that information. How many customers would you say are in this validation level where they've recently purchased from you, but it's too soon to ask for a review or ask for a testimonial? Just go ahead and put that in the chat if you know the answer to that question. We have many, it seems, loyal customers, but small amount compared to the market size. Okay. All right, so let's look at the promoting level. How many past customers do you have historically, total, excluding those that are still in this validation level? And if you don't know, that's okay. My goal for today is to inspire you to know these numbers. These are numbers that you want to know. You want to have a way to find them out. Okay, so these are the easy ones. Now let's go up to the consideration level. how many potential customers are in the consideration level. So these would be people who have been to your website. How many visitors have you had to your website? Do you know that information? How many people have followed you on social media? These are people who have engaged with you in some way. You want to know these numbers. The discovering level. So these are people who have been exposed to your brand who may not have known that you exist. How do you get that information? You get that from looking at, for example, your website. You want to look at Google Search Console, and it will show you how many impressions your website has gotten. And it's important to know the answer to that question. This is an example of a client who came to me recently. So if you don't know what Google Search Console is, it tells you how many times your website appears on the search engine. And you want to know, for example, how many times, say, over the last month or 3 months. So this client came to me and she had never looked at Search Console. She'd hired a company to build their website and she wasn't getting any business, or she was getting some, but not as much as she anticipated. And the first thing that I do is I go through this list with my clients and fill in these numbers. And this is where we start to learn some really important information. What we found when we looked at it is that in the past 3 months, she'd only appeared in search results 900 times, about 1,000 times in 3 months. Another business right about her size, she's a solo attorney, had gotten 8,000 impressions in the same period of time. So something is really wrong here. And what we found out is that her website was a cookie cutter copy, that the developer was just doing cookie cutter sites, and Google doesn't like that. So my point is, when you go out and try to get these numbers, you will start to learn what is working and what is not working. And these numbers should be tracked over time. So get these numbers for this month, and then a month from now, look at them. Have they changed? And also you can look at them and make a decision about, all right, where in my funnel is the money? When you're looking at these numbers and you see you have a lot of past clients, but they've only purchased from you one time, then there's a huge opportunity for you to reach out to them to get additional purchases. So just having these 5 numbers will give you so much information about how well your marketing is working and where you need to focus. So here is lesson number 2. So we talked about the customer's journey and the process they take and how we want to help them become our best salesperson. We want to talk about what type of content is needed by your customers. So obviously, someone who has no idea you exist and they happen across you on, maybe you show up on their For You page, they're not going to be interested in the nitty-gritty details of your product. It's too soon. You don't want to try to be selling to them. They need to go through this process. So we have identified for you the type of information that your customers need for the different levels of their journey. And up here in the discovering level, this is working with algorithms, really. And to get in front of new people, you need to be putting up this type of content around your customers' interests, their future vision of themselves, their desires, the problem, and etc. And I'm going to give you a link so you can get access to this chart. We're building a chart here. So you can look at it and review it on your own. But what I'd like you to do is, I'll run through these quickly. The content you need for people who are at this consideration level, you want to be educating them talking about their options, and showing your expertise. And I want you to know or keep in mind that these content topics are based on research that we did, reading documentation published by the platforms about their algorithms. And so this is how they divide up their users. This is how they present information and how they rank your content. People who are in the decision level, they're really close to making a decision. You want to be providing details about your product, differentiate yourself, talk about the benefits of your product, show proof. Why are you the best for them? And then once they've made that purchase, then this is where the work really becomes yours. So up until now, your customer has been doing all the work. They're learning about their problem. They're considering their options. They're making a decision. They're handing over their hard-earned money. And once they decide, yes, we're going with you, now it's your job to take care of them, to validate that decision, and to provide services that convinces them that they made a good decision to work with you, and they will then promote that decision. So to do that during this validation period, you want to do a good job of delivering your product, show gratitude, give them special offers that are relevant, come up with new products based on their feedback, and then of course provide as much personalization as possible. And then this last level is the promotion level. The way that you will encourage your customer to promote their decision to work with you is by creating a connection to them based on your mission and your vision, the community that you've created around your business, giving them insider information and telling client stories that resonate with them. And that's how you create that connection that makes them feel really qualified to and glad to promote their decision to work with you. So I would love it if you could just take a moment to think about one of these. Let's pick one here. Think about what are some of the things that you do or you should be doing to help your customer feel really great about their decision to work with you, which will then turn them into promoters of your brand. Just take a couple minutes to think about that. And I'd love it if you would share some of the things you do or you would like to do in the chat. Well, a lot of business owners that I've spoken to, when I ask them this question, oftentimes I get the answer, oh my gosh, we're not doing anything. So it's good to just spend a little bit of time thinking about how you are turning your customers into your best salesperson. And again, I'm going to give you a link so that you can get a copy of this and think about it outside of our presentation today. So we have a comment here. It's a take at this journey. How can we get testimonials, upgrades, but not the other way around? Is it okay we reach out to them? Yes. I mean, certainly you should be reaching out to your customers. And when you take this approach, so I understand what you're saying. It feels uncomfortable sometimes to ask for a testimonial. But when you take this perspective of you're thinking of them as they're analyzing their decision to work with you, when you take that approach, it starts to feel more natural. You're supporting them. You're supporting whatever it is that they are working on, whatever problem it is that they're solving, and you're wanting to know, did we solve your problem? Did we help you? And that is a very different way of wording it than, hey, will you give us a testimonial? So it's really good to sit down with your marketing team or your copywriter, or maybe you are the marketing team, and think about the way you can present this. Okay, lesson number 2. So we talked about the customer's decision-making process and their journey. We talked about the content that they need for those different levels of their journey. And the next thing we want to talk about is, where do we publish that content? So we spend a lot of time identifying what content we should create, should have ready and available for our customers. Where do we put it? Should we have a blog? Should we have social media? Should we do an email campaign? These are some of the questions that business owners wonder. How do you know? So we're going to talk about that next. So this is the BASE3 model chart in its entirety. And you've already seen parts of it. We have the customer's decision-making process, their journey here. We have the content that is needed at each level of the journey. So we talked about that. And then this side of this chart is a grid. And on this grid, we have 10 of the communication channels that most businesses have. And I will review them with you very quickly. We have your website. We have, and I'm calling this intent, but this is the purchase page. It's a little bit different depending what type of company you are. It could be an in-person meeting, it could be different, but we're isolating that as the intent to purchase point. Email and text. So you have control of these. Then we come to video posts, social media posts, and digital ads. And these you do not have control over. You are relying on search engines to like you and understand you and to find your customers. Then we come to events and partners. I have them grouped together because they come with already existing audiences. And if you're participating in events and partners, you want to be really specific about which ones you participate with, because you want to make sure that the right audience is going to be there. And then we have mobile app and the metaverse. So the way this grid is set up, and again, this is based on reading search engine and social media platform documentation. There's some logic embedded into this chart, and it's color coded so that you know where to focus your time and energy. So when we are looking at just getting started, we're founders, we have new businesses. What do we do? What is the first thing we do? I often tell my clients, especially if they're limited by marketing budget, start out with events and partners, because then you are working with already existing audiences who are your potential customers. I also recommend starting to put content on your website around the interest, future desire, and the problem that your clients have. This is going to inform your Google about who you are and who they should put your content in front of. So that's how this works. And the way that we use this chart is we do an assessment initially, like, okay, which of these channels is really important for your business? Not all of them. And this is why business owners feel overwhelmed. I mean, look at all these. That's a lot to try to comprehend. If you can just identify and focus on those touch points that are important to you, then you cannot worry about all of this other stuff. So we take a look at the channels that are important, and I circle in red, okay, this is important to you, but you're not doing that right now. We need to put that into action. The other way we use this chart is by planning out a marketing campaign or a full marketing strategy. And we use it by, for example, this is clients going to publish a blog article, and then they're going to share it in social media. And so we can map out how we want customers to flow through these different touch points to a sale. And then, of course, then after they make a purchase, we have their email address. We can start offering them new products. And so it just creates this flow. And we can use this numbering system to create a production plan. And this is just a mock-up. Well, I actually use this. This is the production plan. Channel 10 is a blog article. So we put it here, fill it out, and then we have a list of the items we need to do to complete channel 10. So it creates a full production plan. So this is what I have been doing with my clients, is marking this all up. And we've had amazing results. And it's really exciting to see this happen. And of course, what I want to do is I want AI to do this for me. I want to be able to plug in what our goal is and what level we want to focus on in this particular campaign. And because my model is then inside of this app that I want to build, it can generate this whole production plan. Right now, I have a chat bot on the BASE3 Model website that has the model in it, so you can ask it questions and it will verbally generate a marketing plan for you. But you know, AI, I don't have the app built yet. So that's what I'm working on now, which is why I'm here at Founders Bay, is working on making this happen through AI. So if you are interested in learning more about BASE3, starting in 2025, I'm implementing a training, and I'm doing it a lot like Six Sigma. BASE3 is like Six Sigma for marketing. So we're doing orange belt. We have a couple of other belts, black belt, and then if you want to become a trainer, you can. And if you want to scan this QR code and put your name on a spreadsheet, I'm happy to reach out to you. But I'm doing 2 separate cohorts this year. And let's see, we also do consulting. You can read the book Digital Blitz. It's on Amazon. And you can also reach out to me personally. I'm on WhatsApp. And that is my presentation. Thank you so much for attending.